Uncover the hidden world of political campaigns in just 5 minutes. Join me, your host, David Washington, on CounterTop Politics every Monday for exclusive campaign insights, tantalizing innuendo, and the secret sauce behind successful political campaigns. Don't miss out. Let's go. All right. Here we are again. It is a special episode of yes, my favorite podcast, my personal, professional political journal, Countertop Politics. Every Monday, 15 minutes, it seems like, of campaign insight, political innuendo, and the secret sauce to winning campaign strategies. And I have a special guest today. His name is Robert Montgomery. You are familiar with him. Before we get to Robert, I just want to let you all know that tomorrow, September, November, oh my goodness, February the 24th at approximately 8:30 in the evening, the Jane Washington Network will have a special presentation of the State of the Union Address 2026, and that will appear on the King Exchange. So look for it. It should be quite interesting. We hope to have some guests on board to give their special insight. However, without further ado, let's get to Mr. Montgomery. Of course, if you've seen our previous episode on Countertop Politics with Robert in regards to fundraising, we're going to take it another step in regards to relationships. He is the author of The Book of Love. But more importantly, in this context, he is the author of The Nonprofit Management, a guide for nonprofit leaders, Robert Montgomery, a comprehensive manual for nonprofit leaders covering essential topics such as leadership, fundraising, public speaking, financial management, human resources, and stakeholder engagement. Welcome back, Rob.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yes.
Well rested. The weather was beautiful down here.
Welcome back to Florida.
Until today. But we're leaving today anyway, so it's bittersweet.
Yes, it is. And I'm glad that have taken the opportunity to have another sit down with me on Countertop Politics. The last episode that you joined us on was successful. We had a lot of views, and hopefully folks will see this episode and take some great information to heart as they did in the last episode.
Awesome.
And buy the books.
Yeah, buy the book.
Buy the books.
Buy the book.
It's worth it. I got two, and he signed them for me, so check it out. So Robert, let's jump into it. Tell us a story. Fundraising relationship in your practice. What was your greatest success story?
Well, it's hard to say which is the greatest success story because I'm not tooting my own horn or anything, but in the fundraising world, you'll find out no matter what level you're working at, you're going to have a lot of success stories. Okay. A lot of part of fundraising is fun. And every step of the way, while you're in it, sometimes it doesn't seem like a huge success. But as you look back and you look at all of the things that you've done over the years, you start to realize, wow, I was involved in some really, really powerful things. Usually in fundraising, the success is measured by the money.
Okay.
It's measured by the amount of money that you raise. So I will talk now about the most money I've ever raised at one particular time.
Okay.
Just so that you technically this would be considered what you asked, my greatest success story.
Okay.
So the donation, I'll start off with the donation was more than $5 million.
Excellent.
And it took years to develop this donation.
Okay.
When I first started at the organization, we already had a relationship with this particular donor. He was already a millionaire, multimillionaire,
Sure.
Probably had hundreds of millions of dollars. and he owned a pharmaceutical company in the area. And he had been friends with the founder of the organization for decades. So this was a relationship that was new to me, but it wasn't new to the organization. And this guy helped the founder actually start the organization. And he was a major donor on an annual basis of 6 figures every year.
Okay.
So he was our second largest donor every donation season. And so I saw an opportunity. First of all, we did a little research on him in the office and found out that he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. At the same time, he was in a deal, brokering a deal to sell part of his pharmaceutical company to a huge pharmaceutical company, which made him become a billionaire.
Wow.
So he could afford to give us much more than what he was giving us. So we had some conversations with him about some ideas, because part of fundraising is partnering with someone. Part of fundraising at that level is partnering with someone on creating something or creating a legacy for that person. And because when you're raising thousands of dollars, it's more of, we need this because we need to continue doing this.
Okay.
But when you're raising millions of dollars, we need this so that we can start this or we can build this.
Okay.
And it's exciting for a person to partner with you on building something or creating something. This particular person had an ailment, a physical ailment that they were dealing with, and their thought processes was, why don't you start a health center at the organization?
Okay.
Problem with that was, when you start something of that magnitude, that was totally outside of our wheelhouse. We didn't have any type of health center, health education, nothing like that. So it would have been a brand new venture. We would have needed partners, more than just him, but partners, huge partners like the county or the city, to come in and help us build something like that.
Sure.
Because his money would be welcomed, but it would cost us a lot of money in the process that we didn't have. A lot of just thrusting us into a brand new thing that we had no idea what it was going to take.
Okay.
So it was going to take a lot more than just his donation if we were to venture that. So the pushback was, this is not in our wheelhouse. This is not something that we do. It's not even related to anything that we do here. So your donation would be, we would love your donation, but it would cost us a lot more in the long run than what you would give us.
Sure.
So we talked about, it wasn't that I wasn't excited about the stuff that we did. This was just something that hit home. But over the years, we started a affordable housing program from scratch. We purchased a house and we rehabbed it cash, purchased it cash, rehabbed it cash, and then rented it out to low-income families. Where that started was, before I even got there, we did the organization did some surveys in the community to find out, well, what else do you need here? Okay. What is the greatest need in this community? Okay. And most of the surveys came back that affordable housing was a huge problem. The problem was, in that particular area, larger families had to cram into 1 and 2 bedroom apartments because there just was not any inventory of anything larger.
Okay.
So imagine if you're a single mom, you've got 3 kids, and they're not all the same gender.
Right.
So boys and girls have to sleep in the same room, which is not, or the boy has to sleep out in the living room. Right. So it's not a comfortable setting. So a 3-bedroom would be better in that situation. Right. Even with a married couple with 3 kids or 2 kids that are boy and girl, you want one to have their own room and live comfortably. Yeah, privacy. That was not happening in that area. So we stepped out as soon as we did a press conference, not a press conference, press release on the idea. The county loved it. They got involved and they were partners day one. So our first project, we bankrolled probably 75% of the purchase and the rehab, and the county came in at 25%. Excellent. Second project, it was a beautiful home with a fireplace, all wood floors throughout. Our idea was that we want low-income people in the community to live just like everybody else in the community. Why do they have to live in substandard housing? Let them live just like anybody else would in the community. We found a family, husband and wife. They had 3 kids. And our ideal client was going to be about 5 people. We didn't want to rent this house out to 3 people or 2 people or 20 people.
Correct.
5 was our sweet spot. 5 or 6 was our sweet spot. And that's what we found. A family had 3 kids, husband and wife. They loved the house. Anybody would have loved the house.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So,
and this was here in
it was in Illinois,
northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
So the second project, the county, we built a great relationship with the county, and we went 50-50 on the second project.
Oh, okay.
50% of the purchase and rehab, and then we rented it out to low-income family.
Why was that it was 50-50?
Because they wanted to invest more. In fact, we asked for more, obviously.
Sure.
The more money that we can use from the county, the less money we have to use from our own coffers. So we asked for more, they gave us more. And then the third project, they bankrolled it 100%.
Wow.
But the caveat was they were trying to get out of the owning property business. And so they had several properties in the area, actually more like 20-something, 30-something properties, and they wanted to get rid of all of them.
Okay.
So they were trying to partner with nonprofits like us to take on those properties because they had renters living in the properties.
Okay.
And they not only wanted us to purchase it, they also wanted us to keep the renter in the property. So it was a win-win situation. We took on a property, no money. We rehabbed it with their money, and the trade-off was that we rented to their family. We were looking for the same type of family anyway, so why not?
Nice.
Our fourth project was this. We wanted to kill more birds with one stone. So we found a apartment building that had 2 4-bedroom apartments in it.
Okay. Nice.
1 3-bedroom apartment, and then 1 2-bedroom apartment. Okay. So it was a 4 unit. And it also had commercial space at the bottom that at the same time, our food pantry was overgrowing its location. When I first got there, we were serving 50 families a week, with maybe enough food to feed a family of 4 for 2 days.
Oh, okay.
Very quickly, this was during COVID, we increased that to almost 1,000 families a week. With enough food to serve them for an entire week. And it wasn't just non-perishable items. It was, we brokered a deal with several grocers in the area, and we purchased fruits and vegetables from them every single day.
Wow.
And so the food pantry, the word got out that this was better than the grocery store.
Right.
In fact, we rented a larger space, and we set up like a grocery store. We had carts and everything. People would come in, and we wanted them to choose what they wanted to take home rather than us pre-packaging bags.
Sure.
And so that grew, so it outgrew its space quickly. And now we were able to put that whole operation into our own space. We purchased the 4-unit apartment building. The county went at 50-50 with us on this project.
Excellent.
And it also had space next door. There was a restaurant that was closed that was a part of the deal. So we were able to use that space as storage for the food pantry. Right. In fact, I left there to go and run another nonprofit, but since then they have opened that up and expanded the food pantry even more. Wow. And then next to that was an abandoned church that was owned by some church, and it had been abandoned for over close to 10 years. And we were able to purchase that with this. So this was the exciting help us build that we used to secure that 7-figure donation that was more than $5 million.
So it was with this donor, with the $5 million investment into your organization, that you saw the return on that investment so many times, and leaving that particular donor a sense of a legacy.
Exactly.
everything that was accomplished from the 4 unit to the
Exactly.
food pantry and the expansion into the church space.
So yeah, we parlay the excitement of our new facility
Okay.
and us being able to move our food pantry there, and the large apartments, and the prospect of us buying that church, which would
Exactly.
allow us to own like a whole half of a block
That's great.
and move all of our operations to that one location. So the donation that he gave went to purchasing that church and rehabbing that church.
The relationship with that donor, did that grow during that
Absolutely.
time? Do you still have contact with that particular individual?
I
Or
don't
Mhm.
for various reasons.
Sure.
Some of them religious. This was a religious organization, so to say.
Okay.
And so I don't have any personal relationships with that donor, but I still have obviously personal relationships with the board. We keep in contact, and the founder of the organization, we're still pretty tight too.
Great. Rob, as you take a sip of coffee there
Hmm.
before it gets cold, um, how important is leadership in creating relationships, particularly in fundraising?
Two different facets of that question. The leadership in terms of somebody moving the process along. So there's a donation cycle for every donor.
Okay.
It involves cultivation, it involves soliciting, and it involves um, uh, stewarding that donor and making sure they're properly thanked, and whatever you promise uh, with their donation, you're going to make sure you do it.
Right.
So that process, somebody has to manage that
Okay.
process. And usually it's the executive director. At larger nonprofits, they do have staff that's focused on doing those things.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the leadership of it is, it's like the process is the horse and you're the jockey. The leader is the jockey. So you because there's different people involved in every part of
Aspect
that
of it.
process,
Okay.
and it should be the person who has the relationship. So in that situation, the founder had the relationship, the tight relationship. The relationship that I had was all professional. It was
Sure.
only because I worked for the organization.
Okay.
So me pushing that relationship ahead, because their friendship is beyond the organization. So me making sure that he's keeping this person informed of what we're doing, or keeping this person informed of what we did with their donation,
Okay.
or pushing them to have meetings leading up to some sort of solicitation meeting.
Keeping that communication
Exactly. So the
alive
leadership,
helps.
it takes somebody leading that, because he's got a other life. He's doing his job somewhere else.
Okay.
So
Right.
he's not focused on making that happen. That's my leadership makes that happen. But on top of that, the leadership from another caveat is when somebody is asked for money, especially a lot of money,
Sure.
they don't want a person who closes who locks up the place to ask them for money.
Of course. Of course.
They don't want the janitor coming to ask them for money.
Right.
They want the person who runs the organization to ask them for money,
Correct.
or the person who sits on the board and isn't just a regular board member, but the president of a board.
Right. In politics, it would be the candidate. For judicial candidates,
Hmm.
it would be because judicial candidates cannot ask for donations due to Canon 7, which we'll talk about in another podcast. But their campaign committee would
Hmm.
fundraise on their behalf. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was pretty much my answer, is that the important people want to feel important.
Of course.
And if you make them feel any less important than they think they are, even though most people will be humble in public, most people will be humble and say, I don't really need that. But when
Right.
they go back home and they talk to their spouse,
Right.
the real them comes out. I can't believe they did that.
S-
So
to speak to that, Rob,
mhm.
so it would be important if a president of the board or executive director or a candidate would reach out to that potential donor investor, um, and not just in the way that um, they would to a friend
Hmm.
or a family member, but with a phone call,
Yeah, absolutely.
something a
Or
little bit more personal.
definitely a visit.
A visit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. I know sometimes in politics we have a struggle for our candidates in making that initial attempt and following up with those attempts. And with everyone so busy and with the technology that we have, it's easy to just fall into text messaging and reaching out to someone that is a high value donor or investor
Hmm.
and saying, "Oh, I just received a text message or something like that. I was hoping to get maybe a phone call or a visit."
Sure. And here's something that's really simple and it's really if you look at the sales cycle, you get phone calls all the time of people who are fishing.
Sure.
And these are just people who are on the phone all day long. They're not salespeople. They're
Correct.
just people to link you to the salesperson.
Mhm.
If your donor is treated like that, they will feel a certain way.
Okay.
They don't
Right.
want somebody fishing to contact them. They want the person who's going to ask them for money to contact them because
Okay.
they're more important than some cold call. They don't want to be treated like a
Sure.
cold call. They
I
want to be
understand.
treated like royalty. Like I gave such and such amount over these amount of years. They feel like I kind of own this place.
Sure.
I got some type of ownership here.
Right.
So
Right.
why is this person who is not even a salesperson? They're not even the ass person. Why are they calling me?
Right.
Why are they setting up the meeting?
Right.
You call me and set up the meeting. I'm
Exactly.
more important than that. They'll never say it. They'll never say it publicly. But when
Right.
they go back to their spouse, they'll tell their spouse.
They're going to learn.
Yes.
Right. Oh boy. And going along with that, can you connect relationship building? And we kind of talked about this a moment ago. It was a
Hmm.
good segue, but connect relationship building and nonprofit fundraising with political fundraising because that's the space that
Hmm.
this particular podcast is in.
Yeah. So, and that's always been my question to you
Mhm.
is I understand why people give money to nonprofits. There's a lot of different reasons, but I'm not too clear on why people give money to politicians
Right.
other than the fact that when they make a call, if let's say they need some zoning done or they need or they're getting shaken down by the city, they got somebody they can call to make sure something happens. Or their child gets pulled over by the cops and they don't have their license, they can call such and such. They want to be able to have access to the politician on a moment's notice. That's the only reason I can think of
Right.
why somebody
And I
would
understand
give
that.
that politician money. But at that same time, that pisses me off because I should have that same access to my public official, whether I gave them money or not.
And you do, and you should, and everyone should. And it's just a matter of, you as an individual walking into that office and requesting a meeting with that particular official, or before they even become an elected, you establish a relationship with a candidate or a potential candidate and say, hey, these are the things that I'd like to see for my community, my business, my kitchen table issues. And I would like you to be my elected official. And so I'm going to support you. And the best way I can support you, as in a business, is to invest in their campaign. And it doesn't necessarily mean a monetary value.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to mean like you dig in your pocket, you write a check, for $1,000 or whatever. It could mean, hey, you make some phone calls on behalf
Hmm.
of that particular candidate and connect them with other business leaders in the community. You take that candidate throughout the community, introduce them to, the regular John and Jane Does, and get that candidate exposure, expand
Hmm.
their network. And so there's different ways of investment. Of course, funding a campaign is very important so that you can create the resources to reach out
Hmm.
and get your message out and connect with those kitchen table issues of your constituency?
Sure. So to answer your question, what I'll do is I'll verbalize the important factors in fundraising
Mhm.
for a nonprofit.
Okay.
And then could you help draw the line between that and fundraising for politics?
Right.
So there's three important things. There's more important things, but there's three very important things. One of them is the case for support.
Okay.
Why should I give you money? When you sit down and you finally get that face-to-face ask meeting, you have to have some sort of case of why, or a plea of why you should give us money. And it's usually two factors, main factors. One of them is statistics that move the mind.
Okay.
And another one is success stories or some type of story that moves the heart. So
Yeah.
those two are key ingredients when you have that meeting. And typically, depending on how much money you're asking for, you want to have two different people giving those two different, it's sort of like a good cop, bad cop thing, or 1-2 punch.
Can you talk a little bit about or explain about the statistics of the mind you said?
Statistics move the mind.
Oh, statistics move the mind.
Yes.
Okay.
Success stories move the heart.
Correct. Okay.
Both of them got to be moved if you're going to get this, if this person is going to move his hands
Correct.
and write that check.
Exactly.
So, and it's typically, you don't want the same person telling the statistics as the person who's given the success story.
Okay.
So before you have the meeting, if you're executive director, you're going in there with your president of the board. One of you guys has got to give the heartfelt story.
Of course.
And the other person's got to be more business and give the statistics.
Okay.
And that person throws out the number of what you're going to ask them for.
Okay.
We need, if you give us this, then we can do this.
So in politics, it's the candidate who has to manage both. Give that story, tell that story, connect emotionally, and then make that ask for that particular investor, donor to write that check. So they have to be able to navigate both of those attempts. Okay.
That's interesting because in fundraising for a nonprofit, let's say you're fundraising for some children, the easiest group of people to fundraise for is children.
Okay.
It's easy to move the heart with success stories with children.
Of course. Yes.
And then to move the mind is to really, that's where the second important thing is prospecting and research. If this person that you're talking to doesn't have a cent to his name,
okay,
or her name, then you're just talking to the air. But you would know what their situation was way before you even asked for a meeting.
Right. That is
so
important.
This person has to be able to give you money.
Exactly.
Or else you're wasting your time.
Right.
And that's where prospecting and research comes in.
Exactly.
Also, part of the prospecting and researching is if this person is able to give money at all, what are they interested in?
Okay.
Because if you give a success story that has nothing to do with what they're interested in, that's awesome. But what's that got to do with me?
Where's my connect?
Yeah. So you got to be able to connect to the person and figure out what's their hot button.
Oh, yes.
And that takes somebody sitting in front of a computer and trying to figure that out.
Right.
So before you go into the meeting, you got to have that research done. First of all, how much can he afford to give? And you can tell that by how much they give to other organizations.
Exactly.
And then you can also tell what kind of organizations they give money to. This person is a train buff or a rail car buff. They're probably not going to give you any money for puppies.
That's about right.
They might.
Unless you did some research.
And found out they love puppies too.
Exactly.
Another thing is the fundraising cycle.
Yes, sir.
There's a time and a place for everything. First of all, you got to kind of prime this person up. That's called cultivation.
Okay.
Let's get you out for a visit. Let's get you kicking the tires.
Okay.
And seeing who we really are, what we're really about. let's let you look into our books, not deeply, just whatever is available publicly, but let's get you that information so you can see that we're a solid organization.
So for a campaign and a candidate, that type of platform to let potential donors and investors know about a campaign, having a presence on the internet, because that's the first place they go to find out about a particular candidate,
Mhm.
what do they stand for, what do they stand on,
Mhm.
what's their messaging, what office they're running for, how to connect with that particular individual. So for us, we want to make sure that that particular infrastructure is already there, is created, is strong. There's a social media presence, a
Mhm.
strong one, that has to be established or is already established. And so we have that presence, and that particular candidate is readily available, or at least their information through the internet.
Got you. So that's basically it, David. That's
Okay.
fundraising in a nutshell.
Excellent. Excellent.
How that correlates to
Politics.
politics, we'll let your viewers decide on that.
And Robert and I have been discussing this for several months now about Robert being available
Mhm.
through his business, and your business is Rosemoor LLC,
Mhm.
to provide consulting, fundraising consulting to Jay and Washington political candidates and business candidates, and also assist in fundraising.
Mhm.
And so we're really excited about that. We will work on over hopefully the next year. So we plan for the 2028 elections, a bespoke or custom fundraising program for
Mhm.
political clients, taking aspects from the nonprofit world and politics and building a successful fundraising platform.
Sure. And one thing I want to throw out there is in the fundraising world, when you deal with clients that you're going to help fundraise, a lot of the misconception is that this person is going to come in and bring in some money.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just like we talked about the leadership that's important in fundraising is there's a process to fundraising. I'm just going to walk you through the process
Mhm.
and
That's
be that
correct.
leadership, making sure that at every turn, this organization or this candidate is doing what they're supposed to do to at every step of the process to make sure that they're successful.
Excellent. Thank you for making that clear,
Hmm.
because there is that misconception that fundraisers come in and whoomp,
Hmm.
here's all this money that follows. So I appreciate you making that clear. And Robert, how do people get a hold of you?
They can find me. They can smoke signals. I'm part Indian, so I'll see those smoke signals going up. I'll feel them. My spirit animal is the lion, so any type of red meat you throw out, I'm devouring it.
Okay.
No, I'm on the internet.
Of course.
I'm on TikTok. I do these daily things, but the
Got that.
easiest way to
Yes.
the easiest way to find me is Rosemoor LLC, and you can put it on your thing,
Yes, we'll have it in the description, in the show notes.
rosemoorllc.com.
Right. That ROSEMOOR
Mm-hmm.
LLC. Excellent.
.com.
Any closing words for our audience, Rob?
I don't. Can you give us some closing words?
Sure. Please like, share, hit the notification button. And for those individuals that whether it's family members, friends, those influencers in the wild, like our friend Rob, candidates or electeds who could learn from this type of content, please share it with them. And of course, we'll love to hear what you have to say about today's episode or any of our episodes, whether it's Countertop Politics, the David Washington Show, Ground Zero Florida, the Fernandez Legacy, the King Exchange, and From the Margins with James Afont. Yes, our flagship show, because Jimmy is knocking it out of the park. And of course, remember, Tuesday, February 24th, approximately 8:30 in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, we will have a live broadcast on the King Exchange of President Donald J. Trump's State of the Union address. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you being here and joining us. And be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. God bless. I love you. See you the next time. This is CounterTop. Thanks, Rob.
Bye, everybody.